Dairy Asia forms a network on the global agenda. What is, from your perspective, the key advantage for you to be on that agenda?
I see Dairy Asia and the global agenda as natural allies because we have so much in common when it comes to our vision, our core values, our structure, and the governance processes. And over the last about year or so, we have been able to bring about 13 member countries together, and these members are genuinely committed to contribute towards the sustainable development goals and show that and demonstrate that contribution to the world.
To what degree can the partnership that the global agenda actually is, how can that actually be helping you, supporting you in what you work for?
Global agenda provided really valuable mentoring support and also initial seed financial support for this network.
The challenge we are now facing is in mobilizing financial resources to sustain this, because Dairy Asia has still not come to a point that it has become an independent platform that can sustain itself.
What are you putting into it to make that interest of those possible investors go up?
This is precisely the question that we ask the focal points and the steering committee members, that if we go to the investors, the first question is, what is it that we are willing to put into this? And all the members are committed to putting what they can bring to this in terms of in-kind resources, providing human resources. A lot of the members being from either from the non-profit sector or from the government sector, they have difficulty in committing cash resources.
There's also a big meeting of the global agenda coming up now in May in Addis, the multi-stakeholder partnership meeting. What is the objective or your expectation with regards to especially this meeting, if you compare to what you just said?
We want to be able to establish global linkages, and we want to be able to showcase and share our program and what we are doing, and hopefully also can meet some investors.
I want to talk to you a little bit about something else, about the issue of the consumption of milk in Asia. We know that it was historically in some parts a little bit lower because of cultural issues, but it has gone up quite a lot. And obviously, from a public health perspective, it would be good to raise the nutritional status of people if the consumption would go up more. I would believe that is part of your objective to raise that consumption of milk. What are you faced with? What are the challenges when you look at that?
This is the region where consumption is growing most rapidly. In fact, production cannot keep up with the consumption and the demand. But let's also look at some other statistics. If you really look at the global number of malnourished people, there are about 800 million as per the global estimate, 500 million in Asia and the Pacific region. If you look at the child stunting, about 30% of the children in this region are stunted. This really should be unacceptable. And I think the dairy sector can play a huge role in dealing with the issues of nutrition and malnutrition. Our approach is to try and promote milk in schools, because that's where you can reach out to the children irrespective of with what background they come from. We have some excellent experiences in this region. Thailand has a national school milk program that has been running for the last 15 years and has been shown to actually contribute to nutrition and reduce stunting. We have other experiences in the region. And what we are trying to do now is to collate that experience and then talk to the governments to promote milk in schools. And that is the challenge that we face in terms of having good practices and also having both the public and the private investors willing to invest in promoting milk in schools.
Generally speaking, obviously, Dairy Asia is promoting the economic interests of farmers and all the players along the value chain in dairy, clearly. What is your main challenge when it comes to that in particular?
if you really look at the structure, the structure of production, the structure of distribution of milk and dairy products in Asia, is primarily a smallholder activity. In fact, 80% of the milk in the region is produced by very small producers. And also, if you look at the value chain, there are a number of small and medium enterprises who are engaged in this. The challenge is that many of these systems, both at the production level and the distribution level, are coming under pressure from large players and from the large processors. Some of it because of the belief that the large processors can deliver better quality milk, although there is no such evidence that smallholders cannot do it. So some of it is because of the policies that the governments have pursued in some countries, and some of it is just market forces that the small producers do not have the capacity to be able to deal with the dynamics of the market and the market forces. And that's where really our challenge comes in, that we work for the smallholders. We want to advocate the cause of the smallholders, so inform the policymakers and inform the stakeholders based on the evidence that smallholders can become responsive and responsible players in this. And in that sense, you can really contribute to, you can really get a huge social dividend in terms of poverty alleviation or poverty reduction, empowerment of women and marginalized communities, and so on.
If you put it in a nutshell, the upcoming multi-stakeholder partnership meeting, your involvement in general in the agenda, what kind of consensus would you like the MSP or the agenda as such like to reach that would help you to promote what you think is the most important for the dairy sector?
When we talk about potential in terms of contributing towards nutrition, contributing to a better environment and public health, it's not that the things are not going on in the countries. In fact, there is so much innovation that's already ongoing in the countries, that my personal belief is that if we could just connect the dots, we would make a huge contribution towards some of the public goals. To be able to connect those dots, we need to invest in some of the international public goods, such as multi-stakeholder platforms and dialogue processes. Unfortunately, there is the environment for investing in international and regional public goods is not so favorable, and that's what I am hoping, that there will be a consensus that people will see that there is a value in investing in such processes, because it's not the technology that we need, it's the solutions which are already on the ground that we want to connect people, and that becomes the real driving force for development.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very, very much for the opportunity to sort of share some of these thoughts and messages. I think these are important, and I hope that some of these will be taken on board as the meeting goes on.